These are this afternoon's top stories. The new session of the National Assembly will officially open tomorrow. Homeowners in St. Lucia are concerned over the police force's lack of follow-up after crimes are committed, and Nepalese vow to restore the historical monuments damaged in the recent earthquake. Good afternoon. Welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Tuesday, 5th May 2015. I'm Ebony Brandon. On the national scene, tomorrow will be a historic day for the Dr. Timothy Harris-led government of St. Kitts and Nevis, as it will mark the opening of the new National Assembly. During his recent press conference, Prime Minister Harris hinted that the National Assembly would convene soon, but did not give a specific date.
I am pleased to say that this government will convene Parliament nigh a couple of weeks. The exact date will be announced appropriately, as has been the tradition with respect to the convening of the Parliament. And we will comply with the law with respect to the notice that ought to be given with respect to the Parliament. We are looking forward to that lovely day when we symbolize and usher in the fresh start in parliamentary proceedings in St. Kitts and Nevis once again.
ZIZ News has confirmed that a guard of honor will be mounted on Church Street, where the National Assembly Chambers is located, to receive the country's Governor General, Sir Edmund Lawrence, and Prime Minister Harris as they arrive for the Assembly opening. The opening will be preceded by a parade through Bastille by members of the St. Kitts and Nevis Defence Force Corps and Band. In other news, Prime Minister Harris says the recent transfer of the People's Employment Program in Nevis to the Nevis Island Administration is the first step in restructuring the program. He said while the restructuring process is slow, it is methodological in order to ensure that persons have fair opportunities.
And one of the adverse impact of PEP is that in our, what we call AVEC, and what's the other one, Project Strong, Youth Skills, those programs have lost entrance because the young people now, rather than going into institutions where they can hone appropriate skills, say, no, a quick money here to be made, and I don't even have to show up to work. Just get your name on the program. These are the inadequacies of the PEP program, which my government will not countenance.
The St. Kitts Nevis youth participants in the recently concluded Caribbean Region Commonwealth Youth Ministers meeting have described the event as a success. CARICOM Youth Ambassadors Cleon John and Sonia Body and President of the Nevis Youth Council Dwayne Hendrickson represented the Federation at the April 28th to 30th meeting in Antigua. Participants discussed critical issues concerning young people in the region and made recommendations for youth development in the post-2015 Millennium Development Agenda. One of the outcomes was a youth declaration which presented to youth ministers and senior officials. Other members of the national delegation were Minister of Youth Honorable Sean Richards, Junior Minister with responsibility for youth in Nevis Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams, Director of Youth Empowerment on St. Kitts Jeffrey Hanley, and Youth Coordinator on Nevis Zenelia Claxton. On the regional scene, homeowners in St. Lucia are complaining that police are not doing enough to address robberies. One couple who caught two robbers attempting to break into their home has said the police do not follow up with victims.
Tara Regis Prince says that she and her husband are getting tired of the situation. Yesterday, Wednesday, two robbers were caught on camera attempting to break into the Lacomingo home.
I'm very frightened for my life. I mean, it has happened more than once. More than twice, and it's unbearable at this point.
Mrs. Regis says that her home has been burglarized on more than one occasion. The latest incident took place at Lacomingo after 10.
I would like the police to be more aggressive and follow up. There's no follow-up in what they do. They come in, they dust your house with the dusting and the dust, and they never come back. They never follow up.
Mrs. Regis Prince says that at the time of the incident, the Lacomingo Health Center had several patients she believed saw the perpetrators. She has called for help in identifying the two robbers. For the DBS News World, I am Cecil Actil.
In Grenada, the state of the economy, taxes and their effect on workers, as well as politics, dominated much of the placard messages for May Day 2015. Some union members took very creative measures to drive their messages home to government and other employers.
The placards were colorful, bearing militant messages that highlighted workers' passion on a number of issues affecting their livelihoods. What some may term the bitter pill of taxes featured prominently. Here was some of the messages. The taxman rip out my pocket. Bring taxes to the police station, they getting out of hand. Why bathe when we do have a cent? We are becoming paupers while taxes grow the economy. My money talks, but all it says is goodbye. NNP delivers one tax per month. Who is paying for the free cricket ticket? Answer, tax number 26. And IMF, immediate monetary fatigue. Messages in the political arena were also hard-hitting. Some of them read, sell kit to pay we debt. 15-0, pain and sorrow. I can't even pay attention, first things bad. Mr. PM, please send an SOS for the foreign investors. NNP bus ride next stop starvation. And Grenada Day in reverse gear. Members of the Public Workers Union were theatrical in their portrayal of structural adjustment. Some messages also focused on the plight of nurses and healthcare. We need more doctors to keep Mr. Healthcare alive. Give unto nurses more staffing and material resources. Nurses suffering from burnout and hospital in a state are dying to get out. Other placard messages read, Chester on his special diet for May Day, he eating boo. We are in the tropics, how can our wages freeze? We win the case, pay us, we pension now. And the public service is Hollywood, everybody acting. The day was certainly used by workers to show Grenada and the rest of the world that they mean business. Ria Murray, GBN News.
In international developments, the Nepalese people have vowed to rebuild historical sites left in ruins by a magnitude 7 earthquake which hit the country 2 weeks ago.
The main Buddhist monument is intact, but much of the ancient Swayambhunath complex was badly damaged in Nepal's earthquake. Salvage workers at the Monkey Temple, as it's known, scour the rubble carefully, knowing there's a chance they could find precious artifacts. Across the Kathmandu Valley, it's feared that at least 70 ancient sacred sites were severely damaged.
I think this is really a dramatic loss, not only for the Nepali people, but for entire humankind, because all these monuments here are totally, or were totally unique.
The Kathmandu area's famous Durbar squares, decorated plazas opposite old royal palaces, bore the brunt of the damage. Restoring these sites is going to take time.
I promise you, 5 to 7 years. It takes time. We can rebuild again. Because this is necessary, this is our pride, we will build it.
A vital part of the process will be designing and drawing the old structures, expected to take around a year. The buildings will then be painstakingly reconstructed. UNESCO and international donors have offered support.
Nigerian women rescued from Boko Haram are speaking of the disarray within the ranks of the Islamist group. Deborah Luttebeck reports.
They are free now, living in a refugee camp after they were rescued from the clutches of the Islamist militant group Boko Haram in Nigeria. The group abducted an estimated 2,000 women and girls last year as it sought to carve out an Islamic state in the northeast of Africa's biggest economy. One woman says tensions within Boko Haram run high.
They were always complaining that their leader, I can't recall his name right now, but that their leader deceived them in fighting and killing in the name of religion. And now the unfaithful were killing them. They don't give them guns and nothing good was happening to them. They were not happy with their leaders. We heard them complain every day.
Those who refused to marry Boko Haram fighters were sold.
They started taking money from people, selling us off. Some would also serve as house helpers for their wives. Most of the buyers were the Boko Haram fighters themselves.
The prisoners freed so far do not appear to include any of the more than 200 schoolgirls snatched from school dormitories a year ago, an incident that drew global attention to the 6-year-old insurgency.
In the weather across St. Kitts and Nevis, we will experience mostly sunny skies today and mostly fair skies tonight with little or no shower activity. Winds are easterly at 16 to 23 miles per hour, seas moderate to locally rough with swells of 1.5 to 2.1 meters or 5 to 7 feet. Small craft operators and sea bathers should exercise caution. Sunset today is set for 6:32 p.m. while the sun will rise tomorrow at 5:43 a.m. That look at the weather ends the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for joining me. I'm Ebony Brander.